Eric Terrell with the super chat says, Mike, I love when you talk about M. Well, you're gonna love my next segment. I got a
And
doozy
with
for you.
that, look, and with that, another word from our sponsor in transition.
Okay. Last week, Eminem was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. We've been talking about this since it happened, or at least since the nominees came out there, and I think Tribe was also nominated but didn't get in there. But it was funny to me because I finally got around to listening to Eminem's speech. But it was funny to me that no one's really talking about, the ceremony. It's not like it was when Jay and LL got in there, even when Biggie got in there, Pac got in there. Like it was like a celebration, but it was like nobody's really even sharing these pictures. It's kind of hard to even find some of the ceremony. But anyway, I finally got to it, start listening to it, and his speech was odd to me, Coop, because it literally felt like he went on Wikipedia and started listing a whole bunch of rappers and groups in alphabetical order. And it was weird. It was like, wait a minute. This is just like alphabetical order. Because he started with Two Live Crew, and I'm like, okay, yeah. And then it starts going down. It's like, he's just literally naming a bunch of. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, no, Mike. I'm not even gonna lie. While you're saying all this, I'm thinking to myself, I told Mike about this shit 2 weeks ago. You footnoted this, Mike, and waited till you had time to go and watch for yourself, which you almost never do, Mike. It's been 2 weeks. Go back in.
Well, the thing is, man, let's just keep it a buck. I'm not saying that Eminem doesn't deserve to be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, period. He doesn't deserve to be in there now, and when we're looking at what Nas has just done, at this point in his career, and he's been in this game since '94, and I think you and I've talked about this on previous episodes. This isn't just a hip hop feat. This is an overall music feat. Like you're not gonna find somebody in any genre that is making this level of elite material at this point in their career. Now, Nas has been eligible for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame since what? 94, like 2019,
19.
right? Okay. No nominations that I
Tribes
know
been
of.
eligible for how long, Mike? It's not just Nas, Tribe, Snoop.
Yes, yes. And that's
Yeah.
where I was going to go. Now,
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you
no,
off.
no, no, you good. I was just going to say, I mean, they didn't put Tribe in. But what I want to know is, how does M get in there before Snoop Dogg? I just don't understand. Like, what are the qualifications?
What are
Snoop
we
Dogg
doing?
is an icon, and I think you've said that you feel like Snoop is hip hop's first superstar. You
He
got the
is
Dre connection, because Dr. Dre's at every Rock and Roll Hall of Fame ceremony.
super.
This man is the Chronic. He's half of the Chronic. Let's just say that. The
He
Chronic is
most of the
just as
time.
much of his album as it is Dre's, right? Doggy Style. I mean, everything else that goes after it, he's a cultural icon, a cultural piece. How does Snoop Dogg not get in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and been eligible since what, 2018? And Eminem gets in early. It's
He
it's
is
insane.
he is literally our definition of what a star is in rap. Literally on every level.
There's not a person out there. You can go to people's grandma, you can go to people's kids. You say the name Snoop Dogg, they know who you're talking about.
Everybody knows Snoop.
There's not a person on this earth. You have to find people that are like North Sentinel Island or something that don't know who Snoop Dogg is. You know what I mean? And the music matches that. And it's very weird to me that we just let this induction happen without anybody saying anything about it like it's okay. And again, it's not really about getting getting a pat on the head or anything, but like Coop said earlier, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, they started this thing off doing it
Mhm.
right. They got they got Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five in there first. Boom. Accuracy. Then they came Run DMC. Boom. Accuracy. Beastie Boys next. Boom. Accuracy. Public Enemy. Boom. Accuracy. They skipped over LL, and I've been campaigning about the fact they needed to get that right for years. They eventually got that right. But after Public Enemy, NWA, boom, accuracy. So at this point, we're holding you to a standard while the next people need to be either Tribe, Wu Tang, or Snoop. Am I missing anybody? And I think, and when they put, because they put Pac in next, and I think Pac belongs in that group too because he came out in '90. But when Biggie got inducted, Nas should have been inducted with Biggie, and that's just real. First year eligibility, there's no reason why Biggie gets in there and Nas doesn't get in there, and that's just point blank period. And the way it's gonna look in the history books, our grandkids are going to look back at this and look at how accurate that the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame have been since the beginning, and then they're going to see Eminem's name in there, and they're going to be like, well, shit, that's accurate. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's the dangerous part about it. And that's why people shouldn't just sit there and let this happen like it's cool. It's not cool. And like I said, it's not like he doesn't deserve to be in there at all. But he does not deserve to be in there over Tribe or before Tribe, before Wu-Tang, before Ice Cube as a soloist, before Snoop Dogg, and before Nasir. He doesn't. He does, and I don't care what y'all say. And it's problematic.
I mean, see, and here's what's not about to happen.
And I don't care what he says either. Not to interrupt you. I want to get this out before you stop.
No, please. No, please.
Dolly Parton, she got inducted. And you know what Dolly Parton did? She gracefully declined. And if he really felt all that shit he was saying about all those people that he printed out on the page in alphabetical order, he could gracefully decline to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and say, you know what? I appreciate it. I know I'm going to get in eventually, but I don't need to be getting in right now. I'm just saying. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just a bunch of lip service when you go up there trying to give people props, but you sitting here taking flowers that you don't deserve yet. It is what it is. Like, it sounds good, but you accepted it.
I think the key phrase, the key word in what you just said in that last phrase, though, was yet. And I think that's the problem. It's not, and I want people to be clear about this because I know how sometimes we can get misquoted on here, mostly me more than you because I talk more. But you're not saying that he's not deserving.
No.
You're saying he's not deserving yet because there are people that came before him whose resume and catalog speaks that they should have been first-time entries and thereby entries before you. And that is very accurate. And that's why I was saying I don't want you to rant this, to call this a rant, because what you're really saying is that, well, you're not undeserving. You just don't deserve to go in before these people. And Mike, we have evidence of that. We have the low-end theory. Doggy Style, The Chronic, Deep Cover, Enter the Wu-Tang, Illmatic. It was written. Like, we have these things before you were even a thought in the hip-hop sphere that these artists should be canonized that are Hall of Fame worthy for those contributions in addition to what they did after. And quite frankly, some strings got pulled for you to get bumped up to the line and you didn't wait your turn, and it's wrong.
You allowed it to happen, you know?
Not saying you're not deserving at some point, but the way that it's happening and who's getting put to the back and the way you're getting put to the front. And Mike, and this is what I mean. And so I'm going to circle back around on this right quick, and then I'm going to let you have it because I know this is more your thing than mine too.
No,
you have
cool.
For. No. Mike, are you surprised this happening?
No, I'm never surprised.
Right, exactly. That's why when people was pulling up on me about the Kyrie stuff, I'm like, you surprised this happening?
But that doesn't make it all right.
You know, it's the same people controlling. Like, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so when people be like, "Oh, I'm surprised that happened," it's like, I'm sorry. Like, where have you been the last 300 or 400 years? Like 500 years? Like, I mean, would you like? Can I hand you a book or two that maybe might educate you on how things really work in this nation?
But see, that's why I said what I said about Dolly Parton. She actually was able to gracefully decline. The ball was in his court to gracefully decline. As a hip hop head and as a person who loves the culture in that way, as he says he does, which I believe, he had the ability to really just say, yo, I'm going to wait, pass that down to Snoop Dogg. You know what I'm saying? Because really, without Snoop Dogg, I'm not here. Without Snoop's input on the Chronic, I'm not here.
Fair, but Dolly is also beloved in her genre Like Andrew and I on Mirror Music actually did a Dolly Parton song. It's from the "I Will Always Love You" album that Whitney Houston took.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, she got some banging shit on there, Mike.
Yeah.
Dolly Fire.
Yeah.
But no, she
She
is.
a legend. Yeah.
No.
Icon.
She is. She's a legend. But Andrew spoke when we were talking about Dolly about how beloved she is in her sphere of community, in her genre, because of how she moves. You get what I'm saying? And
Mm-hmm.
so he's not Dolly. You know what I'm saying? He's not Dolly in terms of how he's revered in this sphere. And he has never been Dolly with him. Like, he's never been somebody that's been a spokesperson for this. You get what I'm saying? Like, Dolly's been a spokeswoman for her genre. Pretty much for women in general in a lot of ways, too. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So he's not that. And so Dolly declined. Oh, Dolly can decline. Like, she's going to be queen forever, whether she accepts or decline.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Like, he doesn't have that. And so he can't afford to say no the way that she can respectfully. That I will give him. But I understand what you're saying. It's like, oh, no, he's not Dolly. Like, and that's where people have him fucked up. It's like, I want you to understand, Dolly Parton is more beloved and more heralded and a better musician pound for pound than he could ever pray to be, Mike. He's overrated in that regard because I think to white people who call themselves hip hop heads, they look at him on a Dolly Parton level. It's like, oh, no, fam. He's not that. He's not that.
Well, this is what I would say. I would say that what's happening right now is these unearned benefits that he's getting and that people are seeing that he's getting is actually hurting his legacy more than it's helping. I think that if he were to sit there and be like and make a
Jolene,
grand,
that's the song. That's the song. I'm sorry, Kaya David just brought up the song. Jolene, Kaya, that was the song that we covered on Mirror Music. I was like, yo, I hit Andrew up. I was like, yo, Andrew, I was like, this shit fire.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Like, Mike, I'm sorry. Like, this is what I mean. If Eminem doesn't have an album even like that album that has Jolene and I Will Always Love You, like none of his hip hop albums play like that Dolly album.
right.
You know what I mean? Like, she different.
I think he's doing himself a disservice though, but I think if he would have made a grand gesture of saying, no, it's not my time yet, I think that goes further for his legacy than sitting there accepting an award that you don't deserve now more than a Tribe, Wu-Tang, Snoop, Ice Cube, or Nas. No matter how you cut it, I don't care who you're a fan of, there's nobody that can make an educated, actual argument that he deserves to be in that hall more than Tribe, Wu-Tang, Nas, or Snoop, or Ice Cube. You can't make that argument.
And Snoop is just the one just on star power and notoriety alone.
Yeah, because if it's about record sales, what is it about? Is it about cultural impact? Is it about being a rock star? Nobody's more of a rock star than Snoop.
Snoop is chilling on the beach doing Corona commercials currently every time I see him, Mike.
And if you want to talk about network, he's the closest thing to Dr. Dre. You know what I'm saying? Like, when you mention Dr. Dre's name, what's the next name you mention? It's going to be Snoop.
Well, I mean, well, Mike, and I believe we brought this up. What does Dr. Dre's catalog look like when you take Snoop out of it? It's not the same, though, is it?
It's not the same. It's
not the same.
No, it's not. Rakasha, says Bob Marley never won a Grammy while alive. This is how I know the Grammys mean shit. By the way, congratulations on the 10,000. Thanks to A2HH, One Love. Yeah, appreciate that. We didn't even say that.
Oh, yeah, we didn't even say nothing. Yeah, shout out to us for getting the 10,000 subscribers.
Yeah, shout out to you guys for subscribing.
Yeah, we appreciate all of y'all for following us on this journey. We're very blessed and fortunate. We got here in about 15 months, Mike.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Not bad.
Not bad for a startup coming out of Atlanta, Georgia, talking about this shit that started in the Mecca.
Yeah, just talking about hip hop. We don't even play music. V Guns with the super chat.
Station head now, aren't we?
Yeah, we're about to.
These DJs are in so much trouble, Mike. They should have never gave niggas like us playlisting music. These motherfuckers ain't gonna have jobs in a couple of years if I have my way about it. They better start rating, doing shit right, and playing the songs they supposed to play because we're about to. You can pull up on my station head, pull up on the Recording the Hip Hop station head, and we definitely, like Mike, that little midday mix you did for our 10,000 subscribers, Mike, I was in the kitchen making myself lunch. I was jamming to the shit. You was calling me in. I was taking it off mute. I'm right here, Mike. That's great.
Nah, that's fun. V Guns with the super chat says, KD3 is straight fire, straight classic. Can't believe it's only projected to do 27,000 the first week. I don't believe those numbers, but this is the thing. I do want to speak to those numbers really quickly. It and me and Coop were talking about this offline, and I've been saying this in previous show. It's always funny to me that the people that the mainstream media don't really love that much seem
Mm-hmm.
to get these low numbers. Like,
Hmm.
I don't believe that the baby did the numbers they say he did. I don't believe that the game did the numbers that he said he did. Just off of the Black Slim Shady alone, the fact that everybody listened to that song, and even if you don't like the record, and I know a lot of y'all didn't like the record, but you listened to it, right? How did it not actually chart? That's weird. It is. I don't know. I think that one thing that I guess I can conclude from this, maybe radio play and the fact that these mainstream radio stations are playing some of these artists over and over and over again, maybe that is what attributes to these streaming numbers on a high level because nothing else makes sense. I don't see how this album is projected to do 28,000 with the buzz that it has. You have everybody talking about this from the top to the bottom,
So
whether
can
they
we
like it or
maybe
not.
so I'm going to engage in a little conjecture here because I'm
Okay.
not sure how solid it is. But it appears to me, like you were saying, when you take somebody like the baby who was doing like over 100K,
Like 200 something K.
right? Okay, so let's just cut it off and say he's doing 150K first week, right?
Right.
And that 150K turns to 22K. Like,
Something's going on.
first of all, there's a poison going on. To quote the most controversial and arguably one of the not a question, but arguably the greatest rap group ever. Like people like Mike, the whole Public Enemy versus thing made me think it's like no, they're still in that conversation.
Oh, yeah.
And to quote Public Enemy, you can't trust it.
Right.
And because here's what's going on, and maybe I'm wrong, and a lot of this is just conversations with the plug. And when somebody hits me off with information, I like to do my own digging. I consider myself to be, somewhat intellectual and knowledgeable and able to process information. It appears to me that if you have a radio station like Hot 97, and they are making a choice to not play somebody like the baby on a younger demographic scale or a Nas. And let me tell you what that looks like in places like Alabama, Mississippi, in Tennessee, in Florida, in South Carolina for the baby, which were probably formerly hubs where he was getting a lot of airplay and a lot of love, Mike. Let's say in each one of those towns, in those cities, those major cities in those areas, like a Columbia, South Carolina, or Jackson, Mississippi, or Nashville, Tennessee, the baby was getting 1,500 spins a day. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And in that demographic market, about 2,500 people a day were listening. And you do the math on that, and he's getting 5,000 streams a day out that one market.
Right.
And then you take Hot 97, and they cut his water off in those markets. Well, there you have it. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
And
I mean, because even with Station Head, right, that kind of opened my eyes to a lot. And the fact that on Station Head, when we were doing our streaming party, for every one of y'all that was in there, that counted for an individual stream for
each one
that
of you.
song. So say we had 400 people in there. When I play Thun, that counts as 400 streams for that, right? So I'm sitting here
Right.
thinking like, okay, well, how is that any different when it comes to mainstream radio? And the fact that they're playing people like Lil Baby over and over and over, that has to count to the streams. Not to mention the syndicated radio shows, right? So what about those radio shows like Power 105's Breakfast Club or whatever that is in like, I don't know how many markets they're in. They got to be in like at least like 30 markets. So just with that alone, that's adding to these inflated streaming numbers that make certain people's first weeks look crazy
So,
on one end and make other people's first weeks look crazy on the other end. I don't know if it's a clear indicator.
so I'm going to tell you what, Mike. Sorry, we got some spam in the chat. I'm just getting it
No,
out
no,
right
no.
quick.
Do your thing. Appreciate it.
I'm gonna get to it in 1 second. Let me
No, do
go
your
ahead and
thing.
do
I'm
what you
gonna
were
get to
doing,
the
Mike.
super
Get to some
chat.
super chats while I get this out because I want to do some quick arithmetic.
Okay. Ill Son with the super chat says, did you see the Mass Appeal post about KD playlist? 9 total songs, total 3 of each album. What
Yeah.
songs y'all got?
I was thinking about doing one. It has to be done by 9 o'clock tonight.
Ah, got to do
Yeah.
one of those. Let's see. KD with the super chat says it's performative BS. Eminem knows his respect as an MC is wavering with more trash music he puts out, so he's pandering to get on people's good sides. I mean, that's what it appears to be. Like, nobody else has to go out there and go down alphabetical order all the rappers and rap groups that ever existed in the genre. You know what I'm saying? No one else has to do that.
Right.
Let's see. Oh, here goes some more super chats here.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Darius
let you finish
Campbell.
your super chats, and I'm gonna get to the math.
Okay, we're gonna get to the math. Jay Short with the super chat says, not defending Savage, but I think that his comments struck a chord because we know deep down hip hop failed Nas somewhat. If we had rolled for Nas earlier, like M fans for him, he'd be in the forefront and have this accolades. And that's why we're doing this now. And I know for a
That's why
lot of
we're doing
people,
this now, because we weren't in position when those things were happening, but we are now. So it's time to change that narrative.
exactly. And I know a lot of people think that maybe we're sitting here, crying and pleading about certain things. No, we're just talking about how it is and the fact that we're getting everybody on the same page. And if you disagree, that's fine. You can disagree, but some of this stuff looks a little shaky.
Like,
Marquez Davis with
all
the
of
super chat says Rakim should be in there too. Like, come on, people. Rakim, the guy who inspired everyone. And listen, Rakim's my favorite MC personally. But if the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, in their quote unquote criteria, don't look at Eric B. and Rakim in the same way that we do culturally, I mean, that's where we got the hip hop, Hall of Fame coming up for. But you can't sit there and say that same shit about Snoop. You can't.
you just can't.
Tell me what qualifications Snoop doesn't meet when it comes to getting into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Not even talking about on some hip hop shit, just on some music shit, period. Snoop Dogg might be the most famous rapper ever. And then he got the music to match it too.
Mike,
And the persona and the longevity.
you understand between the Chronic and Doggy Style in the early 90s, that's almost 10 million records sold.
Exactly.
Like in a time when niggas was struggling to do platinum,
Yeah.
like literally struggling to get to a million. Like if you got to a million, you were a gangster and a legend. And this nigga is doing 4 on the Chronic and 5 on Doggy Style.
He was doing numbers before anybody was doing numbers. I mean, he was doing numbers that exceeded what the Beastie Boys was doing, and he did it on some gangster shit. Not on some crossover, singy song shit. Not, no knock to that, but I'm just saying. That just shows you the strength.
This, Mike, I'm pretty certain you can go pull up LL's albums before Doggy Style came out, and the record sales on all of those albums is about equal to what Doggy Style sold. I don't think niggas understand.
Not to mention the Chronic, too. I mean,
Mike,
those two records made Death Row Records. Like, if we look at Death Row Records catalog or discography, there's only like 5 or 6 albums, really. Like, that whole movement is the Chronic and Doggy Style. And then you got All Eyes on Me to finish it off.
And you got Dog Food in the middle.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, to be honest with you, almost all of their greatest hits is literally Murder Was the Case soundtrack, The Chronic, Doggy Style, Dog Food, All Eyes on Me.
Yeah.
Machiavelli, Insane.
Yeah, it's it. Jay Short with the super chat says, would love to see you prove would love to see you prove together the original I Am for the anniversary, I guess pull together and play it on the station head.
I'm with that. I'm with a little 25th I Am anniversary celebration, a little bar seminar for I Am.
Well, we would have to pull together. I mean, is all that stuff out on streaming platforms though? That's the thing.
Does it have to be on streaming platforms to play on station head?
It does, yeah. That's the problem. We might have to do that on a Patreon or something where we could pull from anything.
So, okay, that's fascinating.
Mad Max with the super chat says, shit, why is this sitting here? My bad. Mad Max says, labels pump up artists with fake streams. Cole's been saying they do that a lot behind the scenes. Only time I'm a reference 21. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, not to mention the stream farms and all of that stuff. And I think that the radio stations are piling on top of these actual stream numbers. But I don't think that this quote unquote number is a reflection of what's going on out there as far as people's interest in as it concerns to KD3. I don't.
See, but this is what I mean. So let's just take something like, let's take the baby, and the baby drops a single, Mike.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and the platform that he's on is used to getting 4,000 streams based on the people, Mike, a day. And like you said, it's in a platform like a Hot 97 where it's in like 32 of the major markets.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Mike,
it's a big cut.
If he can get 4,000 streams in 32 cities, Mike, that's 128,000 streams a day.
Yeah. That's somebody just pressing a button. Like literally, if you and I were in a station head, session or whatever, broadcast, and we let's say had like 40,000 people in there, and we're sitting here going through this playlist, and these people are getting 40,000 streams every time we hit whatever. If this one artist pissed us off and we said, nah, not playing him, because they be playing these artists like 20 times a day. Like every time you turn on the radio, and I rarely turn on the radio, but whenever you do turn on the radio, it be the same songs on. That's what's happening here. That's why these numbers are so inflated.
Mm-hmm. But that's what I mean, Mike. And
Taylor
I was just thinking about what
Swift.
you're saying. Yeah. So to do station head, you have to have your music pretty much on a streaming platform, right?
Right.
Well, that's a great opportunity for us to help promote local artists in this city too.
Yeah.
And that's what I want to do as well.
We got to do that. Shout out to Web Visibility with the $50 super chat. I'm showing super love. He said, M could have used the rock and roll induction as an opportunity to speak to his fans about how he's benefited from white privilege as a teachable moment. That would have been really impactful coming from him as opposed to a black artist.
Why would he do that when he's gotten so much from not doing stuff like that?
That's the thing. I see what Web Visibility
not doing that.
I see what Web Visibility's saying. He's like, if all of these things that he's saying is so genuine, why don't you just go ahead and address the elephant in the room? You got in before these guys because of your complexion. Let's just be real. You got it. I don't even want to say these guys. Let's just say Snoop Dogg.
It is a connection thing, Mike.
What's different? What's the difference between his connection in the game and Snoop Dogg's connection in the game?
Oh, they don't own Snoop and Game the way they own him. Straight like that.
Okay.
You just straight up and down. I mean, I don't know how else to express it to you. I'm pretty sure there's some paperwork that'll show you that too.
Well, I'm all caught up on the super chat.
Because this damn sure ain't about to be no relevancy episode. It's a paperwork episode. Everybody remember this episode. This is the paperwork episode.
The paperwork episode. You know what? I'm all the way caught up on the super chats. We actually got another one. Rigger 49er says, Pac is the most famous rapper in history. It's not even close. Everyone in the world knows who Pac is and listen to his music more than anyone else. I won't gripe with you on that. I think that the debate is Snoop, Pac, Kanye, and M. I think those are the four most famous rappers ever. But I will say this. When Tupac was alive, Snoop Dogg was more famous than Tupac. And that's just the truth. He was. It is what it is.
Popular.
He was.
Being famous and being popular are two different things. He was more famous, but not more popular. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I think Tupac hit people on a different level, bottom line. But when it comes to, Pac coming to death row, that was more of a free agent acquisition. In that situation, Snoop Dogg was D-Wade, while Pac was LeBron.
Has an MC on some MC shit, yeah.
Yeah, I'm just saying from some on a popularity level, that might have been different. LP with the super chat says, M should have mentioned every rapper he skipped. Yeah. That, you know what? I'm with you. That would have been more powerful. Forget a whole book of every rapper that ever exists. You should have just said Tribe, Snoop, Cube, Wu-Tang, Nas. That's it.
Well, see, here's the thing about it, Mike. And this is where they kind of lost course. I think maybe around that time that you're putting in Public Enemy and NWA, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you have to follow that up with some KRS-One and Rakim. And here's the thing about it. See, now you're getting into a little bit too much pro-blackness for them. They don't mind offsetting NWA with Public Enemy.
You're right.
But you got to start doing KRS-One and Rakim.
Well, especially since Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five.
Nobody's equal. Like the shit that these dudes kicking is positive and different. And so there might be some submersion going on where they made a choice. It's like, oh, let's just go to somebody more fun that's insightful. Like, I don't know, Tupac.
You know what? I think you're right, though. And I'm giving them a pass because if they got Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five in there, there's really no reason they shouldn't have Eric B. and Rakim in there, to be real. I mean,
but
I shouldn't be giving them that pass.
But when when the God get in, KRS, Kane, G-Rap, Slick Rick, now you got to be on some rap shit, Mike.
Yeah.
And they didn't want to be on no rap shit. They wanted to be on some notoriety shit.
They had to change course because they started it from a foundational, section. But
do you understand those foundational sections, Mike, were some of the people who moved the records and moved the meter too? Mm-hmm. Beasties, Run DMC, Public Enemy, NWA. Those are all platinum groups, Mike.
Impact is heavy. Beasties' impact is heavy. We don't talk about Beasties enough.
You and I had a Beastie sidebar back in conversation. We're like, man, I love those guys. I have no problem with them contributing to the culture. Don't you ever say that I'm such and such about people. I love Beastie.
No, listen. NWA's early sound is straight Beasties. It is what it is.
Straight Rick Rubin.
Yeah. And I didn't even talk about that from a rapping standpoint. The flow, the cadence. The way that Ice Cube was writing for Easy and the way Ice Cube was delivering on some of their early stuff was very Beastie influenced. When you listen to 8 Ball, that's like a black version of Brass Monkey, is what it is. You know what I'm saying? So the Beasties, their influence is heavy. Not to mention that MCA actually is the person that found LL and called him up and brought him to Rick Rubin. So yeah, I have no problem with the Beasties.
Jockin' Mike D to my dismay.
Oh, yeah, and of course, the whole Mike D thing. Shit.
Right.
Jermaine Young with the super chat. Yeah, I have no problem. Shout out to the real Mike D, if you want to say it like that. Jermaine Young with the super chat says KD3 is currently at a 93 on Metacritic. Its highest rating of a hip-hop album this year, and the second highest rating overall behind the Beatles. Wow. Well, we'll see how it continues on. I think how many people have rated it at this point? I like Metacritic because I like the fact that everybody kind of gets to go in and collectively, have their rating system. Because they take it from all the major publications.
I like Metacritic, but you have to understand when you include in Metacritic, you're including people that aren't as informational and observational and knowledgeable about our culture.
Well, I thought that they just took all of the averages of the major publications that write a review or something.
But that would be Pitchfork and Rolling Stone.
Right.
And Fader getting included in all those things. It's very problematic.
LP says Fat Coop.
Outkast, boy, all you got to do is to throw Outkast on an album, though they'll give it a 90.
See, that's the thing. Outkast caters to so many that their ratings are out of this world. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody fucks with this shit.
It's bombs over Baghdad.
Right. LP with the super chat says Fat Coop, Run DMC, NWA, Beasties, Public Enemy had rock influence. KRS-One and Rakim was straight rap and funk. They wasn't trying to honor that.